Hello, everyone in YouTube and Facebook land. I'm back again. So we're winding down this enrollment. It's almost complete. We will be shutting it down on Friday. This is for the Life Mastery Gym, where it's the first training that I'm not really going to be focused on teaching NLP. It's going to be about creating the life that you want to be living. And that starts with a vision. It starts with knowing what you want. And that got me thinking that a lot of people they have high hopes at the end of every year, high hopes about the coming year. And if they think about it, the previous years, and I know this from personal experience. I'm not just talking about other people. I'm talking about from my own personal experience. At the end of the year, a lot of times I'd be kind of down because I'd be thinking, well, I didn't really make this year a better year. I had such high hopes about it. I didn't accomplish what I wanted to accomplish. I'm kind of no better off than I was the year before. But I have really high hopes about the coming year. And what I wasn't realizing was that I was stuck in this pattern of not really doing anything different. I'm just having high hopes and thinking about some of the things that I'd be doing. I'd be like, oh yeah, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, and then of course it'd be almost the end of the year, again I'm in the same place. It's like I didn't do the things that I said I was going to do or that I wanted to do, and I really feel like I'm no better off than I was last year at this time. It's not a very good feeling, but a lot of people are dealing with this, and it changed for me when I did what we call an NLP, an intervention, where you interrupt this pattern in your life and you say, okay, I'm going to consciously do something different and I'm going to take action on it. And it's a lot more that goes into it than that, because you've probably done that too. You've probably made a decision to do something. You took some action, maybe even planned it out a little bit. But for whatever reason, you felt yourself being drawn back into that old pattern, and eventually you slowed down and then you quit. So how do you change this? So I kind of want to put that question to anyone out there who's watching and just say, okay, what are you doing differently this year to make sure that you do make 2019 the best year of your life? Now, we can humble that a little bit, because some things are out of your control. You can accomplish a lot. You can do a lot of the things that you wanted to do. You can improve your quality of life, but you're probably going to be thrown curveballs that you weren't expecting. And so some things can happen that are completely out of your control, which may not make it the best year of your life, but that's the ideal, isn't it? Wouldn't it be wonderful to think that over the next 10 years of your life, that every single year gets a little bit better, at least a little bit, maybe a lot better in some cases. But I would take a little bit every year getting better than maybe one good year. That incremental growth is is really where most of your growth and learning and improvement in your life comes from. I saw this quote today. I've been on on this kick on quotes recently, and I think it was from Ovid. I might not even be pronouncing that right. I'm not even familiar with who that is really. I like the quote though, so maybe I'll look this person up a little bit more. The quote was something to do with water can bore a hole in a rock, and dripping water bores a hole in a rock. And that's pretty amazing when you think about that, how long that takes, and the fact that just dripping water can put a hole in a rock. And it doesn't do it by force, it does it by persistence. So it's that incremental growth over time in your life that is going to, in 10 years, maybe even less than that, fewer years than that, is going to make your life incredible. But it's by chunking this down, by being focused on knowing what you want every year and not overwhelming yourself with too much, and taking those steps and doing those tasks. It's chunking it down into, well, what do you have to do every month? What do you have to do every week? What do you need to do every single day? And I use this analogy a lot. So if you've heard it before. I apologize for the tired analogy, but it just really puts the reality into what I'm talking about. A lot of people will come to me and say, I need more discipline, and that's usually not the problem. I rarely come across people where their true problem is they lack discipline. There's a lot of other things going on besides that. And what I'll ask them is I'll say, well, how did you get the discipline? Well, I'll first ask them, do you brush your teeth? And they'll say, well, of course. Do you brush your teeth every day? Well, of course. 2 to 3 times a day? Well, yeah, you know, absolutely. And I would say, well, how long have you been doing that? "Well, I've been doing it since I was a little kid." And then I would say, well, how did you get the discipline to do that? Because you're not born naturally brushing your teeth in the morning and in the evening. And it's because you made a decision that you want to keep your teeth. You made a decision you want good breath. You made a decision that you don't want to experience the pain of your teeth rotting and falling out of your mouth. You want good breath, clean teeth, and less pain. So you make that decision. It's that simple. Now, it doesn't mean it's easy. Simple doesn't mean easy. Simple means simple. It's not complicated. So sometimes simple things can be difficult, but that's really what it takes. If you want your life to be better every year, year after year, you have to make that decision. You have to say to yourself, and not just say to yourself, you have to feel it. You make that decision, and it's a whole body, whole being decision. This is what I'm going to do. And when you do that, it's sort of like the rest will fall into place. Now, again, that's back to what I'm saying with the simple, not necessarily easy. What I found is a lot of people do need some guidance with this. Guidance with pulling out of them what it is they really want to do, because a lot of us are chasing values that are not our own. And we know that when we accomplish whatever it is we're trying to accomplish, and it feels really empty, and we're maybe happy for about 24 hours, if that. And then we go, oh, yeah, what do I do now? Do I just go chasing another goal and withholding gratification or withholding happiness and well-being for myself until I accomplishment, like holding out the carrot so that I chase it? And is this what life's really about? And just keep doing this every time, maybe I have 2 or 3 goals a year and I go and I chase those and I accomplish them, and then it's the same thing. You'll create a whole new pattern, and then you will appear to be very successful, and you might even be the envy of your friends and your peers. But is that really going to make you happy? It will, if you're very well aware of what's going to make you happy, what's going to fulfill you. So what are you doing differently? Does anybody, I see we have a few people watching live here. Does anybody have a plan, or is anybody doing anything specific differently this year, this coming year, to make 2019 your best year? I would like to share with you some of the things that I'm doing. Uh, Hello, vibing high winds. Interesting name. Some of the things I can't mention. I can mention them maybe in a few months, but right now there's certain things that are kind of sensitive. That if the certain people hear them too soon, it could get me into trouble. Not that I'm doing anything bad. I am doing for the first time this membership program called Life Mastery Gym. Very excited about that, and what that is, why this is something different for me. I love a challenge. And basically, I'm taking what I was going to use for my personal development program, my new personal development program for 2019, in order to take my life to the next level. I'm basically turning into an entire program where I'm taking people along with me, and I'm going to be guiding them to pull out of them what they truly want based on their values, not on anyone else's, or not what they think they should be doing, and giving them that support. And you might notice a link both on Facebook and YouTube, a link in the description. That's a webinar. It's a free webinar that I've been putting out there. If It's about three problems NLP trainings have. And as much as I've tried to eliminate those problems from my own NLP trainings, there's still some limitations we're just forced to have to deal with when it comes to NLP trainings. So what I'm doing with this program is looking to eliminate all that. And the focus is not to teach NLP. The focus here is to help people create the life that they want to be living. That's going to make them happy, make them successful. And it's an ongoing program. You get to keep all of the um, every lesson that you get every month, you get to go back and revisit. As long as you're a member, you can access all of that. You can also we're also going to do group coaching calls mid-month every single month. Those will be recorded and will be there for anyone to go and grab. I'm also going to be including hypnotic inductions with every lesson, so you get it on the unconscious level as well. And there will be a private Facebook group only for members where I can be more supportive to you, and also you can get the support of your peers. So what makes this thing work even better is that we're all going to be doing this together, and I'll be sharing a lot of what it is that I'm doing, and I will be sharing a lot more personal stuff as it relates to um, bettering my life, but also using that to help you better your life. So I'm not going to just be spewing a bunch of personal details about me for no reason. It's going to be to help everyone in the group. All right, nobody has mentioned. I don't see any things here. Let me check Facebook. Does anybody want to share what they're going to do differently? Anyone? I'm actually really curious. Uh, I guess we got a lot of shy people. Come on. Well, okay. Anybody have any questions? Let's see. Just got on here. What was the question? Okay. The question is, what are you going to do differently in the coming year, 2019, to make 2019 the best year of your life? Now, with that being said, you can't. There's some things you don't have control over to make this year the best year of your life. But that's the ideal. That's what we want. That's what we're striving for. We want to make every year better. We want to keep improving, progressing every single year, so that the next year and the next year, everyone is the best year of our lives. But we can't control that 100%. So we have these hopes and dreams. There's this feeling. This is why we celebrate New Year's, the passing of a year, letting go of maybe some of that baggage, which is a good feeling, but also high hopes about the coming year, about what we're going to do, what we're going to accomplish. Taking more time. So Jenna says, taking more time for me with a focus on calmness to have more focus. Okay. That sounds good. I think a lot of people, well, it depends on your situation, but if you're, I don't know who Jenna is, so I don't know her situation, but a lot of people are overworked and then they come home and then they have to raise kids and get them off to school or get them fed and into bed and spending quality time with them. And a lot of us find that we don't have enough personal time, and that's huge. If you're deprived of personal time, that's really difficult. When I started talking about this program that we're doing, people were saying, "Well, how long is it going to take?" Because a lot of people have limited time, and so they're like, "Well, yeah, I want to take your program, but I don't know if I have time to do it." And I said, "Well, do you at least take an hour for yourself to work on you, not just to do something fun and indulge yourself," which is also important, by the way. But I'm saying, like, what are you taking at least an hour a week to work on yourself? And reading a book is not what I mean. That's passive. You can read a self help book, which is good. But what I'm talking about is spending that hour taking what you've read in the book or what you've done in a training or what you've learned in a training and apply it to you. A lot of people don't even do an hour a week. And I say to those people, it's like, you're worth it, take that hour out to work on yourself. It's so important. And if you do that an hour a week for an entire year, that's 52 hours. Over 10 years is 520 hours. Imagine if you don't do that and you don't have the 520 hours over 10 years. Do you think your life's going to be any different? So kind of the point that I'm going at this is a lot of people have the high hopes and high dreams about the coming year, but they're not actually doing anything about it. They don't have a plan. They don't have an intervention to change things. And what inevitably happens is they end up in the same place every year, and then every year they're basically distracting their dissatisfaction, they're distracting themselves from that feeling by indulging the high hopes of the coming year, and that's where hope can actually get you into trouble. Let's see. Let's see what else we have. Personal time. Yeah, Jenna wants more personal time. That's good. She's, uh, I don't want to even try to pronounce your name because I'm going to get it wrong. But he or she says, make a lot of new big goals and visualize how I will complete them. Okay. Yeah. I would recommend take it deeper than that and really connect with the values behind those goals. What are you trying to fulfill by achieving those goals? And that's going to be your motivation. So Cruz says, worry to myself all the time, but sometimes I just get overwhelmed. So sometimes I think I want to get better at dealing with stress. Yeah, man, I hear that one a lot. Dealing with stress and overwhelm is not a joke. Overwhelm is something I do to myself quite often. Well, what I would say is, from what everybody is posting here, I think the most important thing is to get very, very clear about what you want. So for Jenna, what is that personal time going to do for you? What's important about that? And go really deep with that. And every answer that comes up for you, keep going deeper and say, what's important about that? What's this going to do for me? And then after that, go to criteria, which is, how do I know when I have that? How do I know when I'm experiencing those values? What do I see? What do I hear? What do I feel inside me that lets me know? So where's your evidence? And that'll help you construct the target or the goal, the thing that you're after. And the thing about goals too is when you have a vision, which is what I'm talking about, when you get in touch with your values, when you know your highest values, and then you've also gone to your major life context and you elicit your values in each one of those, it's almost like it's a projector shining your vision out there. It becomes very clear about what your vision is for your life. And it's not overly detailed either, because you don't want a vision to be overly detailed. You want to receive the happy accidents, and you want to be open to realizing that what you thought you wanted may not actually fulfill you. But now that you know that, you can then focus on what fulfills you and go for that. That's a wonderful experience, by the way. At first, I used to resist that, and then I realized, wow, I'm a lot closer to getting what I want. I'm a lot closer to the success that I want than I often think. And so when you go through that process of letting go of things that you don't really want, the only reason why you wanted them is because everybody else wanted you to want them, or they wanted them for you. It's like dropping off loads of weight, and it just frees up your energy, and you can focus more on creating that vision for your own life. All right. Okay. Well, we got a little bit of engagement here. I'm glad some people came on and started posting here. It's really cool. So just to remind you, so the membership closes, the enrollment closes this Friday. There's this one-time pricing for the first 100 people who get in, which will also be, the pricing will be locked in for life. And this is an ongoing program. You continue to get access to all of the material. Like I said, we do ongoing coaching calls. You get a lesson every month. You get a hypnotic induction every month, and then the support in the private Facebook group, as well as 10% off on any of my NLP trainings. So some people might be thinking, well, I know you have NLP trainings. What's different about this? The focus of my NLP trainings is for you to learn NLP and then apply it to wherever you want. But that doesn't quite do it for everybody. Some people want to learn NLP. They want to become very good at NLP, and that was me. But I also reached a point after geeking out on NLP and studying it and becoming pretty good at it. I was like, okay, well, what do I do with this? I've got these skills. I've got this knowledge. What do I want to create? And I was like, okay, well, yeah, no, this is about creating my life. This is about coming up with a vision and creating that vision. And as I started to do that, and it really started to work, and I thought, okay, well, it's time to take this to the next level for my own life. I thought, this is perfect. This is for all the people it's for the people who have learned NLP, and now they're ready to put this other piece into place. This is also for the people who don't know NLP, who don't really care to learn it because it's just not their thing, but who want to benefit from NLP, who want to just be able to take the stuff that's really effective and apply it immediately in your life to get immediate results. So you don't need any background in NLP to benefit from this program. It's, in fact, that's why I'm doing it. It's more about creating the life that you want. The focus is going to be lifestyle and creating that life. Whereas my other trainings are focused on teaching you how to be an NLP practitioner. There's no one better than the other. It's all about where you are right now and who you are. Like I don't, I'm not good at math, but I benefit from math. I have to I have to know some basics about math, but I don't need to be a mathematician to, make a little budget for myself or my household budget or my businesses or anything like that. So I benefit from math, but I don't need to be an accountant. I don't need to be a mathematician. So if you want to benefit from NLP, here's the way that you do it, and you don't really care about learning it so much. I mean, you're kind of going to learn it by default, but if that's not your focus, this is going to be a great program for you. And then for the NLPers who have gotten good at NLP, but I get these questions all the time, like, well, how do I actually apply it? Or I know NLP, I'm doing the skills, I obviously have it, but I don't seem to be getting the results in my life by applying NLP. Or I'm really good when doing it with other people, but applying it to my own life, I'm just having a hard time doing that. So this will take your NLP practice to the next level, but the focus is just going to be different. Than It's not going to be learning NLP. It's going to be very focused on you and creating the life that you want to live. And how do we do that? And what works and what doesn't? Like the same things don't work for everybody, and that's why there's going to be a lot more interaction with this membership program than my past trainings. What strategy do I use then? Um, the strategy, glad you asked. The strategy, this is the part where a lot of people get hung up on, and I used to too. So, by the way, like I'm not some person who was just born knowing this stuff. I'm a person who has failed so many times. I probably have failed more than anybody who's listening on this call, and I'm not bragging about that. But what that means is I've tried a lot of things. I've put myself out there a lot, and um, I've just kind of gotten comfortable with the discomfort of failure. And what starts to happen is you start to win. You start to succeed after a while. Every failure is like, okay, that's not the way. That's not what worked. And so do something different. In fact, it's usually the opposite. So you're failing. Okay, well, do the opposite. And it's kind of compared to my jiu-jitsu practice, Brazilian jiu-jitsu practice. I get beat up a lot when I go because I'm still pretty new. I've only been doing it 7 or 8 months. But even when I come back from practice, and I sometimes have like, I don't know if you can see it, there's still a red mark here on my face. I get these red marks all over my face, and then I've got, I know it looks like a hickey, but that's actually my gi from somebody yanking my gi. You kind of get beat up every practice, but that makes you stronger. So every time I've failed, I've gotten back up and gotten stronger. And believe me, it's been a lot of times, and even one time where I said, okay, I'm just going to kind of do the familiar and the traditional thing. And I followed the path sort of set up for me by my father. And it turned out that was one of the worst things I've ever done because it was so not me. And I thought, okay, even in giving up, I failed. So I might as well go for what I want. I might as well throw myself out there repeatedly. And when those successes happen, and now they're happening more and more, they're happening more often because you just start to get better at this. Your instincts start to cultivate. I don't mind it when things don't work out. I don't mind it so much when there's failure. It's more like just like the presupposition in NLP, there's no such thing as failure. There's only feedback. So you start to not take it personal. You start to detach the emotional part of it from the failure, and then it's like it's just all information at that point. And so if I'm not getting back the information that I want, okay, I just know that I need to change something. And that's where I'm getting to your question about strategy. People get hung up on the strategy a lot of times, and they want that strategy to be right. And the reason why they get hung up on the strategy is because they're not understanding, they're not connected to their values. If you're not connected to your values and your values are unconscious, then everything's going to fall. The pressure and the stress is going to fall on that strategy. You need that strategy to work. And if it doesn't work, I don't know what I'm going to do. And when it doesn't work, because inevitably you will choose a strategy, you will try it, and it will not work, it can be crushing and devastating because you don't know what else there is. You don't know what else you have. But if you go much deeper with this about what you want and you're very, very connected to your values, the strategy becomes disposable. You try out a strategy, doesn't work, toss it out. Try another one, doesn't work, toss it out. You find one, it works. Okay, I'm holding on to this. Now I have a strategy that works. How do I make it better? There's no such thing as a perfect strategy, and life is not static. So things are going to keep changing and moving. So I need to keep updating that strategy. And there may come a time, in fact, well, I don't want to say may, there will come a time when that strategy stops working. So if you keep connecting to the strategy, and especially if you find this is the worst thing that can happen to people, they succeed right off the bat. They attempt something and they succeed right away, and they get attached to that strategy, and they won't let it go. And there are people who wow, lost millions in the stock market when they had the dot-com boom. I think it was in the mid to late '90s, not far from me, about 35 miles north of where I'm at right now. I'm in Santa Cruz, so in Silicon Valley, people lost millions because they didn't see the writing on the wall, and instead of moving their money, they were so fixated on like Cisco stock. It's going to work. It's worked before. I'm just going to hold on to it, and they just watch their money drop and fall away. So when you're connected to your values, the strategy becomes disposable. You're just looking for what works. And when it doesn't work, when it stops working, you just throw it out and you find something new. It becomes a lot easier to navigate success and failure when you're connected to your values. And it becomes a lot easier to make decisions. And it becomes a lot easier when you make a bad decision or you make a wrong, I don't want to say bad, when you make a decision and things don't work out, you at least know when you were following your values. And if you did your due diligence and you took in the information and you studied and the decision still didn't turn out the way that you wanted it to, well, you did the best that you could, and you let yourself go, you let yourself off the hook, and then you try again because you're connected to your values, and that becomes your headlights. And I don't want to say a dark world because that sounds pessimistic, but no one's going to give you the light to shine the path on your path. That's up to you. We seek out gurus. We seek out people who are going to lead us down the path, and so teachers are good. I don't like gurus. When somebody tells you like I'm going to show you the way, and here's all I don't buy into all that. But there's good teachers, and that's how I identify myself as a teacher. And sorry about that. So I identify as a teacher. I'm looking to help pull out of someone else what's important to them, what's their values, and help guide them. I don't have a light. The light's in you. I'm going to help you find that light so that you can shine it on your path, your individual path. It's not my path. It's yours. Okay. As usual, I've stayed on far longer than I expected. No more questions are coming in, and I'm going to go ahead and get off. But if you do have more questions, please put those comments down below this video, and I will get to them. And I really appreciate you guys being on. If you want to know more about the free webinar, that's in the description. And then when you go to the webinar, if you want to enroll, you don't want to watch the webinar, you just want to enroll, which is great, in the membership program. Or if you want more information on the membership program, just click on the link, do the whole thing like you're going to enroll in the program, and just go to it'll take you to the video page. Just scroll down. It'll give you that option to go directly to the information about Life Mastery Gym. But if you want to watch the webinar, I'll put some work into it. So I hope people find it valuable. But if not, just scroll down and you'll get to the information about Life Mastery Gym. And I hope to see at least some, if not all of you there. Remember, the enrollment's filling up. First 100 people get special pricing locked in for life. And that's the only time I'm doing this. So I will shut down enrollment this Friday. And then if you want to know, if I get this question a lot too, if I'll be opening enrollment again, yes, I will next year, but the price will go up and it won't be locked in for life. It'll be subject to change. So now's the time to get in. You won't be billed again until February, by the way, because you'll get the first lesson in January 1st. And the money that you put down, the first payment will pay for that. So you won't get billed again until February. And that was the other thing too. The other problem I was getting is people didn't have enough time to learn NLP, and people couldn't afford it. This membership program takes care of both of those. It's affordable, and it won't take you much time. Like I said, at least an hour a week, or more. If you can do more, do more. But you're certainly worth an hour a week, and you're certainly worth what I'm charging per month. What I'm charging per month is the equivalent of a few cups of coffee a month. So if you don't believe that you're worth that investment, your life is not worth that investment, you seriously need to rethink things about your life and where you're putting your time, your energy, and your money. Put it in you first. Invest in you first before investing it anywhere else. Okay, I keep talking and I keep saying that I'm going to go. All right, thank you all. Oh, nice. Thank you for that. People are saying some kind words. Okay. I will hopefully see all of you in Life Mastery Gym. Take care.